Last week at Watkins Glen, Gene McCluan put on a dominating performance, putting one hand firmly on the championship trophy. Dan Cariddo now faces a daunting points deficit and will need a miracle to keep his title hopes alive. In the AM category, Richie made an unforgettable debut, stealing the show with a victory and an overall podium finish. Track limits are sure to be an issue, especially with the huge amounts of runoff on the final two corners, and we gear up for this end of summer showdown in the stunning Styrian Mountains of Spielberg, live next on ASN. Our venue for this evening is the virtual Red Bull Ring, originally built in 1969 and renovated to its current layout in 1997. Located in Spielberg, Austria, the renowned motorsports circuit is known for its stunning alpine backdrop and thrilling layout. This 2.683-mile track features 10 turns combining long straights with a mix of fast and technical corners, and it has hosted various major events, including Formula One and MotoGP's Austrian Grand Prix. The Red Bull Ring's unique elevation changes and high-speed sections provide an exhilarating challenge for drivers, making it a favorite among fans and competitors alike. The format for the OSRL GT3 series is as follows. You're finishing up practice now, then we head to a 50-minute qualifying session to determine the grid for our 45-minute feature race. The 5th season of OSRL GT3 series concludes tonight live on the Automotive Sports Network. With Bryan Sawyer in the production truck, Justin Robichaud in the commentary box. My name is Josh Mertz, and I welcome you to Spielberg, Austria. Just a reminder, cameras all season on ASN brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimCams. And thank you, Andrew Cardinale IV, all season, as always, for your camera support. Justin, last week, Gene McCluan inched closer to the championship with that commanding performance in New York, and Dan Cariddo needs something special to win the title. How are you, and what are your thoughts?
Hey, I'm so excited for our final round here tonight, especially at a fantastic track like Red Bull Ring. And you're right, that dominant victory from Gene may have solidified that lead, but you know what? There's still some drama that could happen. There's still a chance for Dan Cariddo to make something happen here in that pro class, and there's a little bit of drama in AM, if I'm not mistaken, too. That could happen and cause some changes, but you know, not likely. These drivers have been great all season, likely to give us some great racing, and if we can get through clean, this is bound to be a fun night. Red Bull Ring's such a great flowing track, and I love racing it, and I'm gonna love commentating it just as much.
As let's take a quick look at the championships before we transition to qualifying. And like we said, the Drivers' Championship, 13 points, although that doesn't look correct. We're just going to roll with it. Gene McCluan on top of the standings. Dan Cariddo, Brian Coxon, Josh Blum, Rob Ferretti. McCluan needs a nightmare of a night. Cariddo needs to win. Let's put it that way for the title to be overhauled. The AM class is interesting, like you said. No Peter Hopp, no Lucas Hill. Jared Kelly is 235. I'm not sure how the drop weeks are going to fall, but Kelly might be able to sneak into the points lead there in the Mustang. The Constructors' Championship, Saints and Sinners Pro, I think has it pretty locked. over super speeders by at least 60 points as we take a look there. Midwest Motorsports, both of their teams, EHM Red, we take a look down the order. And one championship that is super close is the Manufacturers Championship coming into the final round of this evening. Chevrolet by 4 points over Ferrari. So it's America versus Italy. We've got Mercedes, Porsche, BMW through the top 5. We'll take a look at some programming notes as we take a look also at Jared Kelly's the first car on track in the 55. Saturday is the second test, the final test for NASA Rallycross Supercars. Remember, it is not broadcasted. We've got it there in case you want to join NASASimRacing.com. The first season of NASA Rallycross Futures will kick off on Sunday at the Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll have Ethan Halsey and Victor Valley on the call. And then, immediately following the first round of the 5th season, we're on season 5 of Lights already. That's wild. Also in Sonoma, Ethan Halsey, Victor Valley for that. We've got NASA Rallycross Contenders, I think the 17th season, moving on a solo day on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern at Sonoma. And the 31st season of the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge, also in Sonoma in California, moving to Saturday afternoon. That'll be 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Bryan Sawyer and myself, Josh Mertz, for that. We've got Bryan Sawyer and Justin Robichaud. You guys are going to have a great time on Monday night. So a lot of action happening here on the Automotive Sports Network, and an unofficial end of September for Season 6 for OSRL GT3. We'll have more details as we go forward. So Jared Kelly, first car on track, first car on a lap in the 55. Of course, we'll have to wait until the checkered flag when the points fall to see where he is. But if Hop and Hill have used their drop weeks, Jared Kelly looking very good, Justin, in the 55 to maybe sneak a title away tonight.
Sure is, and a car that's kind of been a little bit disliked this season. A lot of drivers have been dropping that Mustang in favor of other cars, making some setup tweaks, but it's nice to see a driver sticking with it on what I would say is probably one of the more difficult cars here, just from what I'm hearing. Not driven it yet. I honestly can't wait to try it, but yeah, look at that as he gets a little bit loose there, has to get some correction going. Yeah, I think that's been the synonym with that car. It's a bit loose, maybe a bit heavy. Maybe some of the drivers can chime in at some point and correct me if I'm wrong.
Over the crest to turn 9, Ren corner down the hill. In the real world, there was a gravel trap placed on the AstroTurf there and in the final corner to avoid running wide in the Austrian Grand Prix this year, but Jared Kelly crosses the line to begin the lap time unraveling. 1 minute 32.3. Nathan Branham 30.6. Johnson 30.8. Gene McCluan 1 minute 30.715. Chris Wilkie, lap did not count. Halsey across the line to begin his run. Vincent beginning his run. Ferretti 30.6. Rakenna 31.4. Gonzalez 32.7. Where is Dan Cariddo? In the 320, he's beginning his qualifying run. So I don't necessarily want to call Gene McCluan champion-elect, but Dan Cariddo in practice didn't look great. And he also, we were talking before the race began, he also agreed he needed a miracle for something to happen for him in the 320.
That's very possible. These tracks definitely play to a lot of strengths and weaknesses on the driver. Some will be stronger one week and quite a bit stronger the next. And if you get something like a good combo too, a driver's strong on a track and running a car that's strong at the track too, you get kind of a double whammy. So that spike, that curve, if you will, it's been crazy all season long. It's no doubt to play a factor here. So if he's not feeling good and he's not showing it on the board, yeah, a miracle may be needed for Dan tonight. But we'll see here. Looks like he's going to run off on a lap. We'll see if he can put something together and maybe get this car going and see if he can give Gene McCluan run for his money, sitting up there in the 3rd position.
Rounding turn 7 through turn 8. I'm taking a look at Jared Kelly to end his second lap, 1 minute 31.994. He improves his time, not his position. Nick Johnson goes P1 at a 1 minute 30.572. Wow. Nathan Branham 31.0. Gene McCluan P1 by 3/100ths of a second for the championship leader. Just when I thought that Gene was a little bit down on pace, Justin, he shows why he is in the championship lead.
Yeah, he gets it on that second lap. Tires are warmed up. He gets it flying out there. He's barely ahead of Nick Johnson here, too. It's only by a few 100ths of a second, so few thousandths of a second, actually, in fact. So very narrow margin here for the top 5. At this point, we're looking at 3/10 the gap between them. So that's going to be some great racing.
Dan Cariddo 4, let's call it 5/10 down on his championship rival. And we saw that last week. McCluan had the pace over Cariddo in the 320. And let's see if anyone will be finishing a lap anytime soon. Looks like Dakota Floyd cresting the hill between turns 8 and turn 9 in the Corvette car number 20. Into the final couple of corners, way wide. That'll invalidate his lap for sure in the 24. We ride on board Nick Johnson, currently sitting second on his 3rd and final lap into the penultimate corner. Don't run too wide, and he gives it up. Not a pole position run for Nick Johnson and his teammate Nathan Branham pit. Rob Ferretti, super speeders 2, 3, and 4 here in qualifying. Did Ferretti run a little bit wide over the red and white curbs, trying to use everything he can? Can he get a pole position for super speeders across the line? In the 722, he goes to provisional pole, 1 minute 30.450. Let's pick up Gene McCluan. No, McCluan is done with his run. That is a pole position for super speeders for Rob Ferretti.
Wow, by 9/1000ths of a second, just narrowly getting it. So the margin so close here, Josh, so close. We've got a 4/10 between the top 5, and all of these drivers have been phenomenal all season long. Going to be wicked to see them unleashed here. Wanshi Rakena back in the mix too, sitting at 6th. Dan Cariddo looks like he has one last lap left in him here as well. I'm keeping my eye on him off screen. Jared Kelly quickly jumped up to 9th earlier. Dropped down to 11th as well.
Coxon begins his 3rd and final lap. He gave up that 2nd lap. So the man who won a couple races this season in the Corvette for Midwest Motorsports, trying to pip all 3 super speeders cars, and then Gene McCluan. And Dan Cariddo also, you said you're paying attention to him. We are looking on screen at the 320. He is exiting turn 6 down to turn 7. And Brian Coxon exits turn 3 down the backstretch to turn number 4. And Dan Cariddo will head to the penultimate corner in the 320.
Okay.
Coxon is 4/10 off of Ferretti. Cariddo 5/10 off. Let's see what Cariddo can do exiting the final corner in the 320.
Strong exit.
Good exit of the final corner across the line. 1 minute 31.1. He does not improve. Coxon is the next car on track as Ferretti and Vincent are in the pit lane. So we'll take a look at the 23, exiting 7 through turn 8, up the hill and down the hill to turn number 9. And the driver who I think was the first one to be moved from the AM class to the Pro class after an impressive performance in Sebring in round 2, off the final corner in the Corvette. And across the line, currently sitting 5th. Will he improve? 1 minute 30.435. It's pole position for Brian Coxon.
Wow. Unbelievable. That drops Gene McCluan down to 3rd. So within striking distance, barring any mistakes or traffic here for Dan Cariddo. So there still needs a miracle, no less. But this keeps it really interesting. Jack Clark, Christian Zarat, and Ethan Halsey still out right now firing off laps. Jack Clark looks like he's on his 2nd right now. So early in the run, we'll see if there's anything in the tank for him.
Christian Zarat off of the final corner in car number 7, currently sitting 10th in the BMW. Crosses the line, 1 minute. The lap doesn't count. So he ran a 1 minute 31.8 the last time around. And Jack Clark will be the only car left on a qualifying run. Ethan Halsey is on track, but his run is done. So the 197 on track in the Ferrari. And we've got 19 cars getting ready to do battle here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg in Austria. As let's ride on board the Ferrari, Brian, and take about a lap or so here in Austria. Right when we thought we were going to ride on board for a lap, Jack Clark makes us out to be liars. So, of course, we got a couple minutes left in this qualifying session technically, but there are no cars on track. So, I guess what we could pivot to, Justin, is predictions for the race. And also, obviously, we still have tonight. But thoughts on the season so far, and also apparently our viewers are saying 67% of our viewers are saying that Dan Cariddo is going to overhaul. So, what do you think to all those points?
Yeah, I think I agree, but not a lot of love there for Rob or Bryan Coxon, just based on the board alone. So, like, we take that off the table. It's really just going to come down, in my opinion, tonight to either pits or tire management. So I think the guys that can kind of save their tires and not get into too much trouble or battle too hard are going to benefit here. But this track is so fun. It's really easy and inviting to race aggressively here. But I think the drivers that kind of cool their heads and get a good pit in are going to come out on top. So we'll see. There might be some early pits coming in too. There was an early pit last week. I think it was beneficial. Got someone out of some dirty air, if you will, or some traffic. So we'll see if that helps at all, and if it plays a factor today. I'll keep a close eye on that here. But the top five, oh boy, that's like that's 2 tenths at the end. That's 2 tenths between the top five, and if you add another half a second to that, you've basically swallowed up almost the top 10. So it's going to be some great racing tonight if we can keep it clean. I'm very excited to see how it comes out. This is a fantastic track for it. So great way to cap this season off. And as far as how the season's been going, I think it's been amazing. The racing has been phenomenal. I wish most of these drivers that showed up late showed up earlier this season. It's been phenomenal. The growth has been incredible. We'll see if this keeps going. I'm just excited for another season with these guys. Keep these numbers up and keep this great racing going. It's been a great season. The lore's building. The stat book is getting deeper too. So it's pretty great to see. It's just getting bigger. So
I think I mentioned this last week. I kind of wondered. I'm a prototype high downforce fanatic, so I was like, why are we getting rid of the prototypes in favor of another GT3 league, right? But over 100 people have driven in this league this season. It's broken our stat books. Bryan's had to fix them numerous times, and it's super exciting to watch. We've got some races like last week, like Road America. You've got one guy gone from the rest of the field, right? But we had Spa. What was it? 8 cars, literally for the entire race,
the whole way.
Yes. And if we're looking at, let's see. I mean, you just said it. The top 5 are within 2 tenths. We've got 9 cars within a second. That top 5, that's going to be wild.
Oh, yeah. Especially if they can keep that gap the whole race, kind of get into a rhythm together. We've seen it happen already. So this isn't really a track that invites someone to get off to the races, if you will. I think Road America does, because it's very draft heavy. So you can kind of tandem and team up. And if you get out on your own, you almost have an advantage there. So, but yeah, this is gonna be so fun. What a great track to cap this season off.
And what's super ironic is this was not supposed to be the season finale. Remember when we had some iRacing issues? This was supposed to be week 4. It was supposed to be July 11th. So Watkins Glen was supposed to be the last race of the season, and here we are. As we end qualifying, Dan Cariddo has just dropped from the server. Connection dropped due to upload packet loss. To translate that, lost connection. So hopefully we get Cariddo back. And like we said, there has to be a miracle for Cariddo to overhaul in the championship, but we'll just have to wait and see. We take a look at the grid for the final race of Season 5 of the OSRL GT3 Series, and it's Bryan Coxon on pole stole the show away from Rob Ferretti, who stole the show away from Gene McCluan, Nick Johnson, Nathan Branham, all within 0.2 of a second. Wanchi Rakenna, Dan Cariddo, Justin Richie, Chris Wilkie, Christian Surratt, the top 10. Jared Kelly, Jose Gonzalez, Ethan Halsey, Jack Clark, Stephen Ryan, Dan Fendick, Matty Parker, Dakota Floyd, and Nick Vincent. Getting ready to go. 19 cars for 45 minutes. We will expect a pit stop at some point during the evening. And I want to thank everyone for joining us either on ASN Live or ASN On Demand all season. The partnership that OSRL and ASN has created, super awesome to see. And can't wait for Season 6. Like we said, talk to the boys of OSRL. They're thinking the end of September. So we got the QR code there on the graphic if you'd like to join for the OSRL GT3 series, for the OSRL IndyCar series that they're putting together. A lot of good things happening to these guys. And Dan Cariddo is back in the server. He had 30 seconds to join back up, and he is here. So,
yeah, he might not be fully there yet. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay. Oh, if he doesn't make that, that's a big mountain to climb out of.
Do we say championship over?
Almost. I would say
3, 2, 1. No. Dan Cariddo, pit lane start for the closest championship rival to Gene McCluan.
Brutal. But the field is not incredibly large, though. We're sub 20 cars. We've seen some pretty big comebacks. So let's see if he even grids up off and has it in him to try and make this comeback here. I still don't see him in the car yet.
And it is frustrating as a sim racer because it's like, why am I disconnected? Why does this happen? You get frustrated, but you have to put it in the thought process of this is like a mechanical failure. This is like the car sitting on pit lane, not being able to fire. It happens. It sucks. It's unfortunate. But Dan Cariddo will start from the pit lane in the 320. As a result, we've got 17 cars getting ready to take the green flag. Bryan Coxon and Rob Ferretti on the front row of the grid. Thanks for joining us all season as we get ready in Spielberg in Austria. Green flag in Austria, off the line. Great start for Coxon. Then it's Ferretti side by side with McCluan and Johnson down to the first corner. Branham in 5th. Johnson gives McCluan room, single file. Wilkie, Richie, Surratt, Kelly, Halsey, Gonzalez, Ryan, Clark, Floyd. A couple cars side by side in the back of the field still. Clark with Stephen Ryan with Dakota Floyd up the hill to turn number 2. Hard braking zone. Surratt to the inside, deep on the brakes, passes Richie, tries to get by, shoves Chris Wilkie off the road in the 3, did the 7, and they are side by side now down the hill to turn number 4. Battle for the lead. Ferretti to the inside of Coxon into turn 4. Ferretti deep into the corner, and Coxon takes it back. McCluan in 3rd. Will we see some shenanigans all evening long? Johnson and Branham 4th and 5th. On the outside of Surratt is Richie. BMW versus BMW. Richie runs out of road and uses the sand. Halsey to the inside of Kelly. Move Halsey to 10th. Kelly tries to over-under, can't make it happen. Dan Cariddo has not taken to the track. So the championship might be over for the 320. Final corner for Bryan Coxon. He will lead at the end of the first lap with Ferretti, McCluan, Johnson, and Branham in tow.
It's a nice little lineup there after the first lap, Josh. And I mentioned it. I mentioned it, buddy. This track, it invites aggressive driving. And Dan's coming out of he's coming out of pit lane there now. He's going to be a lap down ahead of the lead lappers. Oh boy. Okay, so he's going to have a little bit of screen time, but what's going to be the strategy here? Is he going to push hard on cold tires and try and hold out a lead, or is he going to jump off to the side here and let him go? Looks like he's pushing for it.
Ran deep in turn 3.
Weave through. He goes out wide and kind of slows down. I think that's the right move.
Now, My mind
he doesn't
immediately
like
goes to the mind games at Dan Cariddo. You know that this championship's kind of done and dusted, obviously, but stay in the way of these guys. Make them know that you're here for next season as battle for the lead. Coxon and Ferretti. Ferretti on the grass, going to turn 6, trying to run the outside. Squirrely on corner entrance was Coxon in the Corvette.
And let's remember, that Ferrari that is seemingly in 5th place or 4th place right there, that's a lap down car. Very intricate here. Some kind of pop off the screen. I think just was struggling with some connection issues. But oh, this must be frustrating for the top few. I see a lot of flashing lights out there, so some of the drivers were unhappy. But now they're getting scattered now because of this a little bit. There's a good little toe, but now it's getting kind of broken up. But looks like a few more people have jumped into the mix. So this is a good little race. So we got to move. It looks like
we got the super speeders teammate bump drafting down the front stretch.
Shove there at the end of the braking zone. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. It looks like we're gonna go too wide with that lap down traffic right now.
17 cars left. We have lost Dan Fendick in the 327. Matty Parker also disconnected in the 017. So what I want to bring up is a couple of, I don't want to, lack of a term, car issues, right? We saw Bryan Coxon burn through his tires in Spa in Belgium a couple weeks ago. We saw the Porsches in the penultimate corner at Watkins Glen, 4 of them spin and crash. So will we see those same issues for those same cars tonight?
Interesting. You know what, this track, in my opinion, is one that's a little bit tougher on tires, just based on the speed and all those sweeping corners. Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, tires and pits. It's going to be very obvious at the halfway point who's been kind of abusing those tires this evening. And while that's not really a bad thing, you know, the tires love to be hot. They like to be in that sweet spot. But if you start to make aggressive moves, like there's been some aggressive moves already, you kind of push the tires above out of that optimal zone, and you get them a little overheated. And if you don't bring them back down quickly, not only does it increase wear and burn them down quicker, but you're hurting your braking zones. Everything is affected. Grip. So
we took a look at Dan Fendick looping it in the penultimate corner. I took a look off monitor. Stephen Ryan and Nick Vincent both ran wide in turn number 4 as I think it was Rob Ferretti who set the fastest lap the last 2 laps in a row. We've also lost Jose Gonzalez in the 22. I think he is disconnected. So cars dropping fairly quickly here in Austria, Justin.
Yeah, Rob Ferretti's giving Bryan a little bit of a run here on the back. And this is a popular section here for aggressive moves down the inside. I don't think nothing's going to happen here. It's great driving by both of these drivers, but Rob's not letting Bryan get away at this point.
We're looking at Jared Kelly and Jack Clark for 11th. The Ford versus the Ferrari. As like you had said, last lap time for Bryan Coxon, 1 minute 30.8, 1 minute 30.9 for Ferretti. 31.1 for Gene McCluan. For our champion-elect, I would say now, with Dan Cariddo, 17th and a lap down.
That's a huge tall order. Now he's almost at the back of the pack, in the thick of it, and he's a lap down. That's tough. That's tough. So he needs an absolute miracle to get this done. I think tonight.
He needs McCluan to. Well, even if McCluan were to crash and finish last, that wouldn't help.
No, I know.
So I mean,
he would need to get to his. I don't know. It's too bad we don't have the algorithm for it. But yeah, he would need a pretty solid finish to make up that difference. It's still pretty.
Hate to claim that the championship is over, but I am fairly confident the championship is over this evening.
Yeah.
So we shift our focus on the race in general, and we've got 4 cars within a couple of tenths of a second here. 3 cars, Zarat, Richie, and Wilkie. We've got the 7, the 34, and the 3 down into turn number 4. And if we reference the Manufacturers Championship. Corvette, speaking of Coxon, very loose through turn 6. I wonder if the tires are starting to burn off from Coxon. He is leading in a Corvette. We've got a Ferrari. Who's the first Ferrari? Is it? It is Clark in 12th.
Yeah.
Manufacturers Championship leaning towards General Motors this evening.
Oh, interesting. So that's quite the shift here as well. Quite a few Porsches in that top 6. Actually, 5 of the top 6 are Porsches. Let's see.
So, Coxon, Ferretti, McCluan, Johnson, Branham, the top 5. McKenna, Zarat, Richie, Wilkie, Halsey, the top 10. And like we had said, Jared Kelly, 3rd in the AM class points. Like I said, we'll just have to wait for the championship points to unravel at the end of the show to really crown a champion there. Taking a second look here. Stephen Ryan in the 36. This is in turn, it looks like 7. Over rotates and over corrects.
Oversteer. Yeah.
In turn 8.
Wild snap oversteer. You can see it starting right at the end of that turn. He got a little bit too zealous on the gas, and then just wicked snap oversteer. That's tough to come back from.
Back up front, Coxon again. Very, very loose in turn 6. Missed the apex by about a car width. Very wide on corner exit of turn 7.
Almost the
and it's
exact
concerning.
spot of last time too.
It's concerning to me as the Corvette in front of 5 Porsches, and then it's a BMW. Zarat in the 7th position. Let's take a look at lap times again. As Ferretti was about half or maybe a 10th faster than Coxon. Coxon 30.9, 30.9 for Ferretti, 30.8 for McCluan, 31.4 Johnson, 31.4 for Branham. Looking through the field, our closest battle. Chris Wilkie nearly ran into the back of Justin Richie in the 34, did the 3. We've got 3 BMWs, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Then we got Ethan Halsey in 10th in the 61. Are we going to see some defending from Coxon? I'm taking a look up front as we still look at this battle in the midfield between the BMWs. And Coxon a quarter of a second.
I've got my eyes glued off monitor. I'm trying to see if Bryan Coxon makes that same mistake again here, or if he makes a correction. I'll see where it happens and see what he might be experiencing with this vehicle here, because it could be a setup change he could make on the fly.
Take a look. Much cleaner in 6 this time.
Yeah.
I looked as well.
Yeah. Much cleaner on the exit there, absolutely. Go back and look. He's starting to build up a little tiny lead on Rob Ferretti in that sector. So whatever he was experiencing or struggling with, he definitely shook it off, and he's got it corrected now. So our closest battle on track is still Zarat versus Justin Richie. We've actually got Jack Clark and Dakota Floyd. Floyd on the outside, running it wide. Not sure if that's going to be an overextension. Can't call it a track cut, but an off-track penalty. Floyd, no penalty, so he takes the spot from Clark in the 197, moved the Corvette to 12th. Chris Wilkie slipstreaming Justin Richie, who is slipstreaming Christian Zarat, the 3 BMWs, up the hill to turn number 3, where they almost made contact the last time around, and Cariddo, the lapped car, might interfere with this battle for the 7th position. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I got real close right up into Chris Wilkie there in the entrance. I don't know if Chris got a little spooked by that, but fell off a little bit from this battle up there. Justin Richie still giving it to Christian Zarat.
Coxon about 6 inches off of the apex. Didn't make a mistake like the couple laps ago. He holds the lead. Ran a 10th slower than Ferretti the last time around. Did the Corvette over the Porsche. And just taking a look, those guys are the only cars in the 1 minute 30 bracket. Everybody else ran 31s and lower. that last time around. As taking a look still at Zerat and Richie. This is 7th, 8th, and Wilkie right behind him. Dakota Floyd, actually, if we could pivot back to him in 12th, he is a quarter of a second behind Jared Kelly. He was faster, I think, by 7/10 the last time around over the Ford Mustang. So into turn number 1, all over the rear wing. And Kelly knows he's there. A little bit of snap oversteer on corner exit. And also, I'm taking a look. Richie looked to the inside of Zerat as we ride on board the front bumper of Dakota Floyd. Floyd peeks to the inside, up the hill to turn number 3.
Just for vision.
No move yet.
But he's got a good exit. Both a little bit wild. Looks like Jared Kelly has a little bit of the run here. But this is an excellent opportunity for a pass. It's where drivers like to go.
Up front,
on
boys.
the inside.
Up front. It is less than a car length between Coxon and Ferretti. They had 2 different lines into turn number 6. Coxon didn't make a mistake, but he had a little bit of a later apex compared to Ferretti. Thought Ferretti might be able to take the fight to him, exiting 6 into 7. But the gap was opened right back up from Coxon to Ferretti. And Coxon was faster.
Up on Kelly too here.
We take a look back at Floyd versus Kelly. Car length between them for the 11th position to the penultimate corner. Jochen Rindt corner, turn number 9. Kelly shallow into the corner entry. Floyd runs a little wide, nearly contact. Did they hit? Entering turn number 10. Floyd to the inside in the Corvette versus the Mustang. It's a battle of the Detroit manufacturers in Austria as we go up the hill to Niki Lauda corner, turn 1. Floyd deep on the brakes, takes the spot side by side. Kelly lets him have it. But here comes Clark in the 197. Kelly gave Floyd the spot, opened the door for Clark. So can we get a 2-for-1, or in the worst way, for Kelly? Kelly slipstreaming, thought he could make a move, but he was not clear of Clark, and Clark takes the spot, move him to 12th now in the Ferrari. Justin Richie has gotten by Zerat. They are beating and banging for the 7th spot between the 2 BMWs. Side by side exiting turn 4 through 5 into 6. Can Zerat hold the spot? Plenty of respect given. Zerat has to give it up.
And Wilkie.
Here comes Wilkie as well.
The chat. Yeah, there he is. Dan Cariddo right in tow, ready for something to happen.
Up the hill to turn number 9. Zerat's going to make a move now? Is it for vision? No. He's going to try and make the move. Richie gave him room.
Shallow entry here is an interesting move. Doesn't give him an... Oh, it does? Well, he has to go pretty wide. He has a good run on Richie here.
Richie
defends a little bit.
Gives him room. Do they nearly touch? They're side drafting down the front stretch here in Austria. Zerat to the inside, Richie on the outside. This is going to allow Wilkie to have the better run off the corner. And here comes car number 3. Looking drivers right, looking drivers left. 3 BMWs battling for the 7th position. Not missing anything up front. I'm keeping an eye. There's a car length between Coxon and Ferretti. Down to turn number 3. Outside Wilkie, inside Zerat. Wilkie's going to over-under, get the better run off the corner. Zerat had some wheel spin. On corner exit. Leaves him a lane. Does Zerat for Wilkie. And down the hill to turn number 4. Wilkie backs up the corner.
Oh, Wilkie didn't want to, but he didn't know where Zerat was going to...
Coxon made a mistake again. He ran it wide. To the inside goes Ferretti. And the Porsche, they touch.
Oh, there's contact.
Turn 7, turn 8. Ferretti's not clear. We're side by side through 8, up the hill to 9. And Coxon clears him. Is the tire wear starting to affect the Corvette? We saw it a couple weeks ago, as previously documented. And Coxon pulls away from Ferretti ever so slightly. This is allowing our champion-elect McCluan to sneak into the picture.
I'm trying to take a peek back at what happened there with Ferretti. I'm looking at the pass attempt. Didn't look like Ferretti. Yeah, he just went really, really shallow after that bump. and lost a ton of speed, giving room to Coxon. It did bleed that much. It seemed crazy that he lost that much time to him, but yeah, he did, just based on that one small mistake. Now he's fighting a half contact.
So, Coxon, Ferretti, McCluan, Johnson, Branham, Rakenna, Richie, Zarat, Wilkie, Cariddo. Then it's Halsey, Floyd, Clark, Kelly, Vincent, Stephen Ryan in the 36, Dan Cariddo off the lead lap in the 3:20. As no movement for the lead as we watched him duel through turn 6, through turn 7. Coxon had a better run. Taking a second look here, Justin.
Yeah, this is the pass attempt here from Rob Ferretti on Bryan Coxon. Gets a little bit of a run there on the inside, like you said, but has to cut that turn shallow to make the move. A little bit of contact. This is where we hit that little rubbing. And then just to the inside, Rob Ferretti had to go on the out. He's rubbing the tires there. I heard it back on the replay and scrubbed a bunch of time. Files in behind him. Just kind of lives to fight another day. Probably wants to get those tires cooled down from that little attempt. And his heart rate too, no doubt.
So, back up front. Back to live pictures. And Bryan Coxon still leads by half a second over Rob Ferretti. It's a further 3/4 of a second from Ferretti to McCluan. 2 seconds back to Johnson. And back to Branham in the top 5. We're going to step aside for the final time this season. You won't miss a thing as we go side by side from Spielberg.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous.
With your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Boost your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Absolutely be doing what he has to do. He has to go for the championship. He has to recover the points that he lost. He's down the race, takes the lead in the 12. What a move. And he takes the lead and holds it.
Side between these two in turn one. This is going to get spicy.
Exiting turn one, over the jump to begin the first lap, clog at the inside line. McCluan contact between them. They are still side by side. This opens the door for Wetz. He can't make anything happen. From the 26, he has not won in quite some time. Dragster acing the entry to turn one, up heading to the inside of Magnus, gives him a nudge. The grip strip on the inside, Phil. Wetz had a little bit better run, but looks like Robbie's going to hold the spot.
You're so interesting.
I love your brow.
We welcome you back to round 10, the final round of season 5 of the OSRL GT3 series from the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg in Austria, with Bryan Sawyer in the production truck, Justin Robichaud alongside me in the commentary box. My name is Josh Mertz, as we have seen some action through our break. Coxon, Ferretti, McCluan, the top 3 hasn't changed, but they were super close, and now it has stretched back out. But what I do want to mention is Christian Zarat, Chris Wilkie, and they, as really quick, pitting, beginning. Ferretti pits. I was going to bring up Zarat, Wilkie, and Richie were slipstreaming down the front straightaway, and next thing I know, Justin Richie pulled over. He said something on voice chat. I did not catch it, unfortunately, as pit stops begin. As just a couple sponsor plugs and some programming notes before we begin the pit strategy proper. If you like what you see tonight, be sure to like and subscribe to the Automotive Sports Network on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And we're actually going over Whiplash Simcams first. Apologies for that one. Cameras all season brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimcams. Thank you, Andrew Cardinale for your support. And like I said, if you like what you see, be sure to follow ASN, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Ring the bell to be notified of our live streams coming up Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, along with our short-form video content courtesy of Jess, Rakowski. NASA Rallycross begins Sunday with Futures and Lights, Monday for Contenders, and next Saturday for Supercars. Times for Futures, it's 8 o'clock Eastern on Sunday in in Sonoma. They're testing Supercars in Iowa on Saturday. NASA Rallycross Lights, also Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll have Ethan Halsey, Victor Valley for those two shows. NASA Rallycross Contenders from Sonoma, 9 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Bryan Sawyer, Justin Robichaud. And then the NASA Rallycross Challenge, the Supercar class, next Saturday the 7th, 2 p.m. Eastern. Bryan Sawyer, myself, Josh Mertz for that. In the OSRL GT3 Series Season 6, unofficially at the end of September. And we'll have more details as we continue to roll on. Bryan Coxon pits, Justin Robichaud from the lead.
Yeah, he sure does. And when we were going over the ad read, we missed that Rob Ferretti blew past his pit lane. I had to back up twice, actually. Backed up, stopped, and backed up, stopped. So that killed his time. Bryan Coxon's going to be, the lane, everything looked good so far. He's up, he dropped, he's out. He's going to set kind of our baseline for the top 5. We'll see what that difference is.
31.6 compared to a 35.0 for Ferretti.
It's a 3.5 second gap in the lane off that. So that's a 3.5 second mistake.
A lot of guys pitting from the midfield. And Ferretti, a long way away from Bryan Coxon. So now, I think the focus is going to shift to our champion-elect, Gene McCluan. If you're just joining us, we had Dan Cariddo, who was needing a miracle for the championship to go his way, and the complete opposite happened when he disconnected, had a connection issue before the drop of the green flag. He is 16th, 1 lap down, so Gene McCluan fairly confident to win this Drivers' Championship. And the AM class still way up in the air, with Peter Hopp and Lucas Hill not here. Jared Kelly, the next closest car, in third in that championship. So we're just waiting to see what happens there in that class. Nick Johnson pits from the second spot in the 717 for super speeders. McCluan's going to go around another lap. Branham pits, the other super speeders car. So Wanchi Rakenna is going to stay out. Zarat pits in the 7. And where is Coxon? Coxon entering the penultimate corner. Should be able to get by these 2 super speeders cars without an issue, though.
Nathan Branham really hot into the box. I was holding my breath there, but if he nailed that entry, wow, that was nice. You can see the cars on the angle, slid it in there. Woo!
Coxon passes the 2 Porsches, put him back to third on the road, behind McCluan and behind Rakenna. Ferretti barely gets by his teammate Nick Johnson, so that pit lane mistake really cost the 722.
And he's Johnson's flashing Ferretti, so he's probably just saying, go get him. Let's go.
So Zarat in the pit lane gets passed by Wilkie and Richie. We're going to keep an eye on those guys. Christian Zarat just threw the race away. I think he got a commitment line penalty in the 7. That was a really wide entrance. And it's one thing that I forgot to mention here in Spielberg, because the pit lane entrance is between the final 2 corners. It's so hard to get that entry right. And Christian Zarat paid the price in car number 7. He is back in 15th, about to be lapped by the race leader, Gene McCluan.
That's a huge mistake. That lane time is sitting at almost a minute now.
McCluan goes fastest in the 922, 1 minute 30.724. Zarat exits the pit lane. Rakenna pits from second. So let's see if Bryan Coxon should easily dispatch of car number 2, and he will. So now, Justin, it's all about McCluan versus Coxon, and if we will see any change between the top 2.
Yeah, it's gonna boil down to how Gene McCluan does in this pit, to be honest. Like, he's off in his own world now. He just set the fastest lap. I think that was almost, I don't want to say it's a mistake because you can't predict it, but giving Gene McCluan the opportunity to sit out here alone out front, just do his own race, is proving very beneficial for him, and it could take him the distance. So if he can get a good pit in here, he's poised to take this. It'll be really awesome to see how this happens.
Just an update on the Manufacturers' Championship is the Constructors is pretty locked. Unsure about the AM class. We know the Pro class is pretty locked. Manufacturers, Bryan Coxon's second in a Corvette. They are leading by, I think it was 4 points over Ferrari. The first Ferrari is 9th with Jack Clark. So I think we're looking pretty good.
There goes McCluan.
For General Motors to clinch that championship, as Gene McCluan, champion-elect, will pit in the 922. Bryan Coxon exiting turn 7 and 8 now in the Corvette. Just want to update, I think we have lost Dakota Floyd in the 24. He has disappeared, disconnected from the session. Let's find Coxon in the final corner.
Yeah, this can be close.
Onto the front straightaway. McCluan drops. That's going to be no contest. Into turn 1. McCluan's going to have a shorter run, but Coxon's going to hold the lead.
Oh, yeah, it files him behind, so he's going to have to chase him down here for this.
We've seen this battle several times this season, Coxon versus McCluan. Their best lap times, 1 minute 30.774 for Coxon, 1 minute 30.724, which is fastest lap overall for Gene McCluan. And McCluan, I think he took tires, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and we know the Corvette kind of burns through their tires, so we might see something in the last, let's say, 14 minutes or so.
There's an opportunity for a push from these Porsches, absolutely. They seem to be very strong right now. And it's pretty much a super speeders, 3, 4, 5, too. So They're poised to make a charge here at the end as well. They're just kind of hook and toe, pushing each other here a little bit. So this race isn't quite over yet by any means.
Gonna have Bryan Coxon coming up on Stephen Ryan here.
There we go, yeah. So this is gonna make things interesting for sure. We're starting to navigate that traffic now, so that's gonna be our little X factor tonight as we get to the
into
near the end.
The penultimate corner, very wide is Stephen Ryan in the 36, in front of the 23 of Bryan Coxon, off the road again in the 36. Stays on the racing line, so Coxon's going to have to pass him. No flashing of the lights, down to turn number 1. And if I'm Coxon, I'm furious. You've got McCluan bearing down on you, and Stephen Ryan just not getting out of the way here.
Big time. Big time. It's sometimes in the heat of the moment you have to make that decision, but yeah, this is lap traffic we're talking about, and you've got no one else around. You just got to get out of the way.
Turn 3.
Does he keep it? He jumps.
He effectively straight lined the corner and got right in the way of Gene McCluan here.
Yeah, he did. Gene McCluan has to go around, stretch his line out quite a bit, and if he doesn't give way, Gene McCluan makes a hard move down to the inside. It's a good move. It's the good move, but yeah, he stays wide. That's the move you want to make. Let it by, nice and smooth. But yeah, we'll see how the rest of the field manages here as the super speeders guys come into it as well.
I'm going to take a look back to 8th and 9th for Jack Clark and Ethan Halsey. This is the closest battle that we have right now. The last time around, Clark was 0.5 of a second faster than Halsey the last time around. BMW versus Ferrari. Coxon's got a 1.5 seconds over McCluan. It's a 1.5 seconds from McCluan to Ferretti. So everyone kind of running their own race after the pit stops. Cariddo pits in the 320. And now Ferretti trying to get by Stephen Ryan. Take a look at how everybody has moved throughout this race this evening. McCluan up 1, Ferretti down 1. Got some movement in the midfield. Richie, Wilkie, Halsey, Clark. Clark and Halsey up 5. Vincent up 7. We got a couple guys down the order. Cariddo, of course, down 7 after his issue on the grid. We got Gonzalez and Fendick both down 5 and 2, respectively. Dakota Floyd back in the session in the Corvette, probably trying to get some track time as we still focus, Justin, on Halsey versus Jack Clark.
Yeah, Jack Clark is really the only driver on track pushing for something at the moment. Gene McCluan's very slowly bridging that gap to Bryan Coxon. It's dipping ever so slightly down into under 1 second every once in a while. But yeah, Jack Clark pushing on Halsey is the battle we're watching right now. It's about 0.3, and every turn it seems like Jack Clark is pushing it a little bit deeper in as he comes in really close behind Halsey here. Halsey just gets loose on the exit with that BMW, uncharacteristic of that car, as he gives up a ton of time now, and he goes to the inside, which is where he wants to be anyways getting to this turn, but does he have enough run to hold up Jack Clark? Jack Clark takes the lead for now, and Ethan Halsey just files in behind and gives that position away.
Clark obviously gave room to Halsey, so missed the apex. Thought he was going to lose the spot. This is battling for the 8th position from the Ferrari and the BMW. Halsey lets him know that he's there, still hangs on the outside in car number 61 against the 197. And like I said, Ferrari versus BMW. Clark runs it wide through 7, through 8. We're going to be side by side through turn number 9. Can Halsey clear him?
His tires are warm. Let's see how he enters this. He's got to be very mild. He's got to be gentle. He clears him. Wow, an unbelievable move to take that position back. Exits clean and strong, too.
As 0.8 of a second up front between Bryan Coxon and Gene McCluan. Gene McCluan was 0.4 of a second faster than Coxon the last time around. McCluan effectively matched the fastest lap of the race, which is his fastest lap. Fastest was a 1 minute 30.724. McCluan just ran a 30.757. I think McCluan wants to, of course, win this championship in style on the top step of the podium. He's not done with Coxon just yet.
No, absolutely not. Gene McCluan's he's holding an ace up his sleeve. He's trying to keep his tires nice and clean for sure. And and like I said, he's slowly bridging that gap. It's about 7/8 now. Last time we looked, last lap around was about 1. So he's got a little bit of work to do, but he's got absolutely the time to do it if he keeps this up. And as I finish that, he's down almost into 6/10, hovering around the 7/10. So it's there's something happening. There's something working here.
This battle for 8th is not letting up either. Halsey versus Clark. Ethan Halsey has had some terrible luck, and I'm trying not to commentator's curse. He had, 3 races in a row where he didn't make it a lap, so it's great to see the 61 in 8th spot having a good run for EHM, and it's still 0.8 of a second between Bryan Coxon and Gene McCluan. And Jack Clark was a 10th faster than Halsey the last time around. They both go off the road, battling for the 8th position. Let's take a look here at the lap times between the BMW and the Ferrari. It's a 1:32.1 for Halsey, a 1:32.1 for Jack Clark. They're equal on lap times. Gap up front real quick, 0.6 of a second. McCluan took another 0.3 out of Coxon the last time around.
And Ethan Halsey is laying
real
it
quick,
all
Wilkie
on the
deep
line.
on the brakes and moves Justin Richie out of the way. He came over the scanner. I can't hear it, but I'm assuming that Wilkie is probably apologizing because that was... Let's take a look at this. I caught it at the tail end. You've got Cariddo a lap down. You've got Richie and Wilkie here. And take a look. I think he missed his braking point, Justin, because Wilkie came from a mile back on his fellow BMW driver.
I missed it. To me, it kind of looked like he got caught sleeping a little bit.
His teammate Halsey over-rotates, exiting turn 4, and Jack Clark takes the 8th spot away. They are still battling. I thought Clark might skip away with it, but it was not to be. McCluan has just reset fastest lap with just over 6 minutes left to go in the season. Still side-by-side on screen between Clark and Halsey. Halsey on the outside clears him again.
He does. He's good. It's a great move. He's sticking to, it should be his racing line all. I don't know. Jack Clark needs to figure that out. Stop running the inside shallow line. The shallow line doesn't work there. It's really all about keeping speed and using as much of that track surface that you can, and that's what Ethan Halsey's doing by going all the way around, and he's benefiting so greatly from it. Oh, he might have used a little bit too much of the course there on the exit. I think he narrowly missed that. It could have been, that must have been close to a 1x, but he's holding on strong. He's kind of building a gap now. Jack Clark may have gotten a bit spooked there in that last sector, so we'll see if he can take a few deep breaths and get back into this here, because Ethan Halsey, he's starting to tighten it up a little bit, but that BMW is a little bit uncharacteristically loose on exit. That's a car that I've driven a lot. I have probably the most hours in that car of the GT3 cars, and it's so stable and so smooth on exit. So you really need to be abusing those rears or just being really aggressive on the tires if you're spinning like that on exit. So he's got to cool it a bit. It looks like he's got it a little bit under control here, as Jack Clark's still holding on. He's not giving up.
Coxon up by 0.2 of a second last time around. The gap goes back to 0.9 of a second. We've been focusing on the battle for the lead. We've been focusing on the battle for 8th. I just want to bring up that Justin Richie leading in the AM class in 6th overall. And he's got a decent gap back to Jared Kelly in the 55. Kelly sits in the 2nd spot in class. So Richie, I believe it was on debut last week, won in AM and finished on the overall podium. He's trying to make it 2 in a row in his first 2 starts here. So not bad for the 34. Clark is 0.3 of a second back from Halsey. And McCluan still 0.75 of a second. Coxon starting to struggle again, Justin.
A little bit in that same section. So, yeah, the car really doesn't like that. And I've watched it a couple times now. On the last when I had a break there and we were looking at some stuff. It seems to me it's happening just on the exit on the downhill there and in the braking zone. So I thought, he should be dialing his brake bias a little bit forward here. That sweeping corner, and he might get some stability back, but maybe he likes it that way. There's a couple hairpins, so I don't really blame him, but I know some drivers, they're known to change that brake bias on the fly, so you'll definitely have some advanced drivers out there that will dial it back for the hairpins and then push it forward for those sweepers, Josh.
Another fastest lap reset by Gene McCluan. 1 minute 30.663. 8 tenths of a second is the gap, with just over 3 minutes left to go in the season. The championship is, I would say, 99% locked. He is simply going for another win to take the championship in style. We still focus on Halsey versus Clark. He, to put it in perspective, though, he was a 10th faster than Bryan Coxon the last time around. It's 6 tenths of a second from Halsey to Clark, and we focus on the battle for the lead. Corvette versus Porsche.
Gene McCluan held that. He's holding on to something. He's got the gap down to 5 tenths. He's being really aggressive on the braking zones. I watched that last turn. He's braking quite a bit later than Coxon. I think he's hoping those tires, if he did some saving, are going to hold up. He's pushing it very, very deep here. He gets really, really close at the apex. And that Corvette's coming out really strong. He's holding it up, but it doesn't look like he's done yet with these last couple laps. The intensity has definitely heightened in this battle for the
through the final couple of corners. We're going to have just under, let's call it 2 minutes and 2 laps left to go in the season. And the last time around, McCluan again, just about a 10th faster. Still 3/4 of a second from Coxon to McCluan. Coxon got a great jump off the line. And I think that's been the story of the season, with the pole sitter getting a good jump and being able to translate that into a win. But of course, we still have these 2 laps left to go as we ride on board the Porsche. Gene McCluan in the 9:22. It has been an impressive season as 2 completely different lines into turn 3, Justin.
Just unreal. Absolutely different lines. And it's both of the cars are balanced different as well. So it's either that or it's just the way the drivers have developed it. Again, and like a little bit of a different line. Coxon tends to come in a little bit later and push that corner a bit, the apex in a bit deeper, and McCluan tends to dive down in a little bit early and apex a bit tighter. So it could be that engine placement, and the Porsche does like to pivot quite a bit. So
we're going to have 1 lap left to go in the season for Bryan Coxon to get another win and for Gene McCluan to lock up a championship. But a lot of things can happen in a minute and a half. Final couple of corners for the penultimate time. Coxon leads by 8 tenths of a second. It's been fluctuating between 7 and 8 tenths of a second since the pit stops. It just makes me wonder if Rob Ferretti hadn't made that mistake, what could have been. Coxon reset the fastest lap at a 1 minute 30.6, and it was immediately reset by Gene McCluan at a 1 minute 30.623. As we stay focused on this battle for the lead, as Clark and Halsey have fizzled out for the 8th position. Half a lap to go. McCluan, much better line into turn 3. The gap is half a second.
Coxon
the tires
a little bit too deep there.
Pretty burned on the Corvette down the back straightaway to turn number 4. And what does McCluan have for Coxon on this last half of a lap? It is 3/4 tenths of a second. If Coxon slips up like he has slipped up, Justin, it is on.
Yeah, that Corvette entered that slip angle awful quickly on that last
wide,
corner.
About a car width off through turn 6. Quick straightaway to 7. And then it is a right-hander, flat out, technically turn number 8. Up the hill, down the hill for the final time. Is the lap car Nick Vincent getting in his vision? Ruining his focus, just a pinch.
I can't be thinking about it. They're not gonna hit it, but he's not gonna get it. It's gonna be Gene McCluan.
Final corner. It's gonna be Bryan Coxon victorious in the Corvette. And it's gonna be Gene McCluan, champion of Season 5 of the OSRL GT3 Series. He gave Coxon a run for his money here in Austria. What could have been for Rob Ferretti coming home in 3rd after the pit lane issue. Nick Johnson 4th, Branham in 5th. It's going to be super speeders 3, 4, 5. And Justin Richie will head to the final couple of corners here, and he is looking at 2 consecutive AM-class wins in the 34. He nearly got bulldozed out of the way by Chris Wilkie, but Richie comes home 6th and wins AM. Wilkie 7th, Halsey in 8th, survives the battle with Clark in 9th, Jared Kelly in 10th. Like we said, the AM class points still up in the air. Not sure on that one. And as the field rolls through to finish, looks like on paper, Justin, that it wasn't super entertaining, but these kind of races with the strategy and you really dive deep into the details of the lap time, super fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. And like if you look at it, the storyline here, Rob Ferretti was kind of robbed of a P2 in that mistake that he made in pit lane, or at least he was robbed of the opportunity to fight for it late in that race. In that 3.5 seconds he lost backing that up. So pits did play a factor here a little bit tonight, and then not in the way you'd expect from one driver, but yeah, that's how it.
Real
how
quick,
it be.
Justin, pick up one of the, Bryan, pick up one of the super speeders cars. They are parked outside of turn 3. Let's pick up this shot for him. Branham, there we go. Branham, Ferretti, and Johnson. They're going to burn the Porsches down in the runoff of turn number 3. We take a look at the classification for round 10 here at the Red Bull Ring. Brian Cox and Gene McCluan, Rob Ferretti on the podium. Then it's Nick Johnson, Nathan Branham. Winning in AM is Justin Richie, Chris Wilkie, Ethan Halsey, Clark and Kelly, the top 10. Then it's Christian Zarat and Nick Vincent. We've got Wanchi Rakenna, Stephen Ryan, Dan Cariddo, what could have been for Cariddo after the connection issues on the start. Dakota Floyd, Jose Gonzalez, Dan Fendick, and Matty Parker rounding out the field in 19th.
Love to see that.
So we just waiting for a couple of more interviews. I'm excited to see the official points. So if it turns out that we have a champion crowned that is here this evening, we will have an extra interview as well. But first, we are going to start. We will start with, let's see. We will hold for just a moment as we await our interviews. So we are going to bring in first Justin Richie, our AM class winner, and Justin, all yours.
Hey,
Justin
what's going on?
Hey, how are you, my friend? Welcome back.
I'm good. I'm tired, but good.
Tiring. That race definitely looked like it was. Talk me through it. It seemed like you were kind of in your own little world there at the mid pack. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, so I wasn't really sure if the guys around me were in the AM class or not. So I had a bit of a mistake. Got a slow down on the last corner right before the pit cycle started. So I just decided to undercut, and it gave me enough of a gap to kind of chill out for the rest of the race.
Awesome. Chilling out sometimes is very good. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened there. How was the pit entry tonight?
It was fine. I've raced here in other classes of cars, so I didn't have too many problems with it.
Too many issues. No, a lot of people were all right. A couple people missed their boxes, but great race tonight. Justin Richie getting that win tonight, second of the season. Looking forward to having you back next year. Who'd you like to thank for your performance so far, and who'd you like to thank going forward?
Heck yeah. Just a shout out to OSRL and everybody in the broadcast booth for making another awesome broadcast. Can't wait to go back and watch it. Shout out to my team, Orange Speed, and all my guys, especially Dakota Floyd. He had a bit of a rough night tonight, but he stuck through with it for me to just give me somebody to talk to throughout the race. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's always fun. Thanks so much, Justin, and enjoy that win tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We bring in our third place man, Rob Ferretti. Looked like he could challenge for the race win. Had a pit lane mistake. Justin, all yours.
Yeah, that's my question tonight, Rob. Missed the box tonight by a little bit. That had to hurt.
Well, boys, what are you gonna do? We did the best we could. It's been a hell of a season.
Hell of a season is right, my friend. And overall, though, fantastic P3. You did great all night. Looking very, very good. Super speeders as a whole must be ecstatic though with that 3-4-5.
Oh yeah, it was great to finish the season in that way. Team's been great all season, really, but it's really nice to have a good result all around.
Big time. You guys looking forward to next season?
Oh, for sure. Can't wait for the announcement for it. See what we're going to be doing for tracks. Hopefully we'll be switching it up a little bit.
Yeah, get out of the norm. That'd be kind of fun. Awesome. Who'd you like to thank tonight, Rob, for the P3?
Just got to thank our sponsor, Sargento. They provide all the funds for us to go racing. So thank you, Sargento.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Rob, Freddie, and we look forward to seeing you back with Super Speeders next season.
Have a good night, boys. It's been fun.
You too, my friend. Take care.
Good night, boys.
Normally, I would do these interviews in the opposite order, but I really want to do race order. So, second place overall, but the champion of OSRL GT3 Season 5, Gene McCluan. Justin, all yours.
Welcome, Gene McCluan. Fantastic race tonight, despite having to run behind Bryan Cox. And I want you to talk me through that, though. Were you trying to save a little bit, give him something near the end?
Not really. There wasn't really any benefit to trying to pass him, so I just stuck behind him. Just tried to, keep it clean, keep it safe. Maybe he makes a mistake, maybe he doesn't. He drove great, didn't really give me any window, and really wasn't worth risking it. So after I closed up on him, I just decided I'd sit there.
Sweet. No, that's a fantastic strategy, one that I like to do myself. Kind of keeps your mindset. You don't have to worry so much. That's great. No, good job, Gene, and our champion this season, dude. That must be awesome. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, it's exciting. I have a lot of folks watch each week, so it's really cool to do something neat for them. And you guys do such a great job covering it, so I'm pretty excited. Hope to come back next year, and I really like the Racing League. It's very clean. Everyone's very cool with it, so it was a great time, and I look forward to more.
Awesome, Gene. And before we let you go, who'd you like to thank, my man?
I got a bunch of folks watching. Little Bryan's watching. He knows a lot of the drivers' names now, but Pinky came good again. So thanks for watching, Bryan, along with your mom, Amy. And I'd like to thank Miss Olson, my wife's colleague. That we're doing our fantasy draft, so we're gonna Otter Cuteness is gonna go down, and then also my wife's colleague, Cam is watching. So we're gonna shift over to fantasy football here shortly, and look forward to joining all you next season.
Awesome. Thanks so much, my man, and enjoy that big win, and we'll see you next year.
All right. Thanks. Have a good weekend, gentlemen.
You too.
Last one for you, Justin. We have Bryan Coxon, race winner this evening. Got some good news. With the run tonight, the Corvette moves to second in points.
Me personally.
Look at that.
You do move.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
Okay, cool.
you move to second. Words are hard. Corvette wins the Manufacturers Championship, which is cool. And yes, you do move to second place in the points. Justin, all yours.
Pretty slick. Bryan, you had a wicked race tonight through and through. Chased down by McCluan. Talk me through that. Were you worried a little bit? We saw you had some issues there. I can't remember what the corner number is.
Turn
Josh,
six.
Turn six. You're getting a little loose there. So
yeah, turn 6 is scary.
Was it? Yeah. Was it? What was it? The car? Was it jitters?
I think the car, but also I just always struggle with that corner in any car. But the Corvette loves to get loose on the braking.
All right. Good. I got that out of there. No, that's overall though. Fantastic driving on McCluan. Fantastic driving all night, and good pit. So, talk me through your race. Otherwise, how was the car feeling all night?
Pretty good. Honestly, one nice thing is I was able to make a pretty good setup when we were originally supposed to have this race, and so it felt pretty good. It was a fun race. It was a fun battle with Rob until I was talking to him in the waiting room, and he said he overshot his pit box, so that was why he fell back at the stop. But then McCluan chasing me down was scary. Though I almost wish it was a couple more laps, because fighting him would have been fun as well, because he probably was going to catch me there. But yeah, it was a good race. I was just able to keep him at arm's length.
He was keeping it close, man.
Yeah.
He was keeping it close, but you weren't giving him much. That Corvette was, the Corvette, I say that. It's really you. Your exits were super strong. You were very, very, very strong on the exits. Looking great. Looking forward to having you next season. Who'd you like to thank tonight?
I'm going, since I mentioned making a setup earlier, I'm going to thank a friend of mine, Walker McAnulty. I believe I said his last name right. He helped me make the setup when we were originally supposed to have this race. Very good setup. And that's probably half the reason I had such good pace tonight, because this car is kind of a handful here.
Yeah. And it looked like you had it all under control. So great job there, man. And good, solid win. Josh, got anything before we let him go?
You have a lot of talent being able to wrangle the Corvette like that, because it's not just this race. It was It was Spa. It was so many other things, so many other races. I remember just such a loose race car. It's impressive to see, my friend.
Appreciate
and
it.
good run tonight, and wish you the best of luck for next season.
Thank you.
So we're gonna take a look at the points, then close this one up. The Drivers' Championship, like I said, not so eloquently, but Bryan Coxon moves to second in the championship. Gene McCluan confirmed as the champion for Season 5. Cariddo drops to third. We haven't seen Josh Blum in a while, I don't recall, so he finishes fourth. Ferretti, Johnson, Allen, Wilkie, Branham, and Rakenna top 10. Wilkie and Branham move up 3 spots each in the championship. The AM category, we were talking about this all night. We weren't sure how this would unravel. I haven't seen it by 4 points, despite not being here. Peter, if you're still watching, you are the AM class champion of Season 5 of the OSRL GT3 series. Wow. And Jared Kelly did all that he could in the Ford Mustang. Lucas Hill, Zarat, Bacadis, Vincent, Richie up 6 after his second win. Tofino, Gonzalez, Kelso, the rest of the top 10. Constructors Championship. Super Speed. Ooh, I didn't expect that. Super Speeders wins the championship over Saints and Sinners. I stand corrected the entire evening. I thought that Saints and Sinners had that pretty locked. So Super Speeders wins that championship. Then it's Midwest Motorsports, Mercedes Corvette, EHM, Saints and Sinners. You take a look down the order there. And the Manufacturers Championship, Corvette, unless something crazy happens. Yep, Corvette wins over Ferrari, Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, Ford, Audi, Lamborghini, and McLaren. We're going to go over some programming notes and some sponsor plugs before we say good evening. Next show for us will be Sunday for NASA Rallycross Futures, the debut in NASA Rallycross Futures. That is Sunday, the 1st of September, 8 p.m. Eastern. You'll notice the supercars above that. Open Test 2 on Saturday, not broadcasted, nasasimracing.com, just trying to get the word out for that. You'll have Ethan Halsey and Victor Valley for both of the shows on Sunday, Futures at 8, Lights at 9, both at Sonoma. NASA Rallycross Contenders moves to 9 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. You'll have Bryan and Justin for that, beginning that championship in Sonoma. And the Overwatch Special Service NASA Rallycross Challenge, the supercars move to Saturdays. That's going to be the 7th of September, 2 p.m. Eastern in Sonoma. Bryan Sawyer and myself, Josh Mertz, for that. The tentative date for Season 6 for OSRL GT3, end of September. Just keep an eye through the NASA shows and through any other shows that we might have. We'll keep you updated there. Cameras all season on ASN, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimCams. Thank you, Andrew Cardinale IV, for all of your camera support across NASA and OSRL all season. If you like what you saw tonight, be sure to like and subscribe to the Automotive Sports Network on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and ring the bell to be notified of our live streams on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, along with our short-form video content courtesy of Jess Rakowski. Justin Robichaud, give me a final thought on the season as a whole, the race, whatever you want to do, and we'll close it up.
Oh, it's been a wild season. It's been awesome. I'm really sad it's over, actually. It seemingly went by very quickly. So I'm already looking forward to next season, because if we can keep the driver count up like this, it's just going to be nuts. The lore, the stat book, it's getting deeper, and the community is building. Everyone here is so wicked, and the driving is fantastic. So yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of it, Josh. I know you are too, and this is a great partnership. And again, late September can't come fast enough. We're only a few weeks away, but it's gonna be a good time when we get back. We got some Rallycross in the meantime, so don't hesitate to check us out on Sunday, Mondays, and Saturdays. It's gonna be nuts. That season, got a bunch more drivers. We've added a ton more nationalities with the time zone change. And we've welcomed a bunch more people in there, and that mix is gonna be brilliant. So looking forward to that.
As all I'll say is a blanket closing thought on the season. Like I've mentioned last couple weeks, over 100 drivers have raced in the OSRL GT3 series this season. It has been some incredible racing that we have witnessed all season. Glad that the OSRL series and ASN have such a strong partnership, and look forward to Season 6 at the end of September. The checkered flag has fallen on the season. From all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, from Jess Rakowski, Victor Valley, Justin Robichaud, Cody Erdman, Ethan Halsey, and Bryan Sawyer, my name is Josh Mertz. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the OSRL GT3 series tonight from Spielberg. We congratulate our Pro Class winner, Brian Coxon, champion Gene McCluan, our AM Class winner, Justin Richie, and our champion, Peter Hopp. And be sure to join us Sunday for NASA Rallycross Futures and Lights in Sonoma in California. Until then, so long, everyone.